I wanted to jump on here real quick with a new update on the Nevermore reunion. We talked the other day about everything that's going on with that camp. It's quite a bit. Jeff Loomis and Van Williams posted a teaser on their Instagrams announcing the return of the band for this year after a near 15-year hiatus. They originally ended up splitting back in 2011, with the final lineup of the band being Jeff Loomis and Van Williams, alongside vocalist Warrell Dane, rest in peace. He passed back in 2017, and bassist Jim Sheppard. And when that reunion teaser was posted, there was no mention of Jim Sheppard whatsoever. It was only just Jeff Loomis and Van Williams. So Jim's wife, Priscilla, put out a statement that she put it out on Facebook, but I believe it's since been deleted. But in that statement, she was expressing her and Jim's frustration that there had been no communication from Loomis and Williams with Jim. She said in the statement that they were waiting on clarification on the project and that they would proceed from there, and also that they felt that it was disrespectful for those two to use the Nevermore name without consulting with Jim. You know, as far as, proceeding from there when they get more clarification, I mean, who knows exactly what that meant? It could be a lawsuit. I mean, that's obviously speculation, but could be anything, really. I mean, I don't know what else, how else you would proceed if you weren't, if you didn't have the intention to go the legal route or something along those lines. But regardless, shortly after that, Jeff and Van released a very, very long joint statement, sort of explaining their side of things and why Jim was not contacted. Van mentioned that there are still some irreconcilable differences with Jim, and also noted that upon the hiatus, Jim moved to Alaska and retired. Very obvious that there are still some very hard feelings with Jim there. But then this weekend, on Saturday, I believe, Jim issued a statement to Blabbermouth where he seems to have softened his stance a little bit on Jeff and Van reviving Nevermore without him. Here's what he said. "In my heart, Nevermore will always be Warrell, Jeff, and I living in a one-room apartment, slaves to an 8-track recording machine, nonstop songwriting insanity. We were driven, we were hungry. To quote Dave Mustaine, we were ready to smile, eat shit, and ask for more. True, I've been retired. I enjoy my new life in Alaska following bears with my wife Priscilla, a wildlife photographer. My opinion of Loomis and Williams' press release announcing the Nevermore comeback is Van came across self-promoting and Jeff felt very sincere. He truly wants to capture a little piece of the magic we held. I'm disappointed no one reached out to me concerning the name Nevermore, a name that means blood, sweat, and tears. With that said, I wish them the best." With that statement, it really feels like a lot of the tension maybe lies between Jim and Van. In that joint statement from Van and Jeff, Van goes into a ton of somewhat specific detail, whereas Jeff just kind of keeps it middle of the road and, stays kind of short and sweet. So, it's really not too hard to see why Jim feels that Jeff is more sincere and that he really just wants to capture some of that Nevermore magic. Obviously, too, with Jeff, or Jim rather, being a founding member of the band alongside Jeff, I mean, I'm sure there's a certain connection there, a certain type of brotherhood type of thing that maybe Jim does not have with Van. But, and perhaps with that initial statement that came from Jim's wife, maybe it was just a knee-jerk reaction. In the first video that I did on this, which I'll link below, someone referred to Jim's wife as Yoko Ono, so maybe she was the one that was more angry about it. Who knows? Maybe they'll work out some sort of deal where Jim gets a small piece of the pie, depending on how they have their business set up. Who knows? Who really cares? I mean, that's their deal and up to them to sort it out however they choose. But also, one last thing, in Jeff's portion of that joint statement that he put out with Van, he details exactly what they are looking for in terms of a new bassist and vocalist. They're holding open auditions. The info is on their website, which I have linked below. But for now, that's all I got for you. Thanks so much for hanging out. Feel free to drop a like and subscribe below if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time.